Let's get an update on the day's top business news stories for you now then with Delano De Souza. Hi there.
Good morning.
You're going to start us off with an ambitious proposal that the US president is going to announce. This is going to be during Tuesday's State of the Union address.
That's right, Catherine. President Obama will call on Congress to increase taxes on the rich to fund tax cuts for the middle class. He plans to raise $320 billion in the next 10 years and cut taxes by $175 billion in the same period. The capital gains tax would also increase for couples making $500,000 a year to 28%. The plan is expected to face strong opposition from a Republican-led Congress, but analysts don't see the president backing down.
I don't see the president going in with the tail between his legs because his party lost in November. I think he's going to feel empowered because he sees that with his immigration decision, his decision on Cuba, that the American people like decisiveness. They like action. They like somebody taking us to that next step.
Right, we're going to look across to Greece now. Delano, we're just 6 days away from a snap election that everyone in the Eurozone is keeping their eyes on.
That's right. This is an election that's spooking the global financial markets as well as the Greek business community. Now, the anti-austerity Syriza party has been leading in opinion polls, and while they have watered down their anti-capitalist rhetoric, they've pledged to renegotiate the country's bailout with the European Union and the IMF. Josh Vardy has a story.
Businesses are bracing themselves for this weekend's snap election. With an electoral result far from clear, the country's economic progress risks coming to a grinding halt. Greece was forecast to grow 2.9% this year. That could change if the opposition anti-austerity Syriza party makes it to power.
An opposition party that defines itself as the coalition of the radical left would be a new point of departure, not only for Greece, but in general for the manner in which you try to find solutions, not only for Greece, but in general for the Eurozone.
Syriza remains firmly committed in renegotiating the country's bailout with the European Union and the IMF, but the party has toned down its anti-capitalist rhetoric in an effort to reach out to investors.
Greece is a country which needs foreign direct investment. It needs to improve its export capacity. Right now, these are two key drivers of a recovery. If that recovery stalls...
Greek banks have seen their liquidity tighten as Greeks withdraw their cash ahead of Sunday's election. It's pushed two major lenders to apply for emergency funding. Meanwhile, the IMF has suspended further bailout payments to Greece until a new government is formed.
Well, all of that news from Greece rattling the markets, as you said, Delano. How are the markets looking right now?
Well, we start off in Europe, where trading has just kicked off. European markets eagerly awaiting Thursday's announcement from the European Central Bank. It's widely expected to announce a bond buying program, those hopes sending all the major indices in the green, as you can see, this Monday. Over in Asia, the Shanghai Composite tumbled nearly 8%. This after regulators charged several brokers with illegal activities in margin trading. The Nikkei ended Monday's session up just under 1%. The Hang Seng over in Hong Kong currently trading down just under 2%. Let's take a look at some of the other stories we're tracking for you now. The controversial ride-sharing service Uber says it's looking for a fresh start in Europe. The company promises to create 50,000 jobs across the continent this year. Uber has faced regulatory hurdles from a host of European capitals. The company said it would only create jobs in cities which help it operate. Truck drivers across France are protesting at around 50 key sites. Go-slow protests have been planned at oil refineries, factories, major highways and airports. The drivers are calling for a 5% wage hike and a 13-month salary for the end of each year. Unions say protests are expected to last until at least Tuesday. The Wall Street Journal reports Google is in talks to acquire mobile payments company Softcard. The deal would place Google in direct competition with the new Apple Pay service. Softcard, owned by AT&T, T-Mobile and Verizon Wireless, laid off 60 people last week as it scouted for a new buyer.
Right then, lastly, we are going to take a look at some news that's coming out ahead of the annual World Economic Forum. That's attracting world leaders, business leaders down to Switzerland, isn't it? But we're not talking about all those powerful people. We've got a report from Oxfam about, well, the poorer people in the world.
That's right. At the meeting you were talking about, the World Economic Forum, which kicks off in Davos, Switzerland on Wednesday, as Kat was mentioning, brings together the world's wealthiest and most powerful people. Now, Oxfam says the richest 1% are set to own more than the rest by 2016. The share of wealth owned by the top 1% went up from 44% in 2009 to 48% last year, and it's expected to exceed to over 50% in 2016. So there you have it, Catherine, the top 1% getting a bigger share of the pie.
Goodness me. OK, I wonder how much they'll be looking at equality over at Davos. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Thanks very much. For now, Delano D'Souza with a look through the top business stories.